Welcome back in Inside the Game. Nate Wangler and Ryan Glinsky, joined by Colorado Switchbacks head coach Alan McCann, joining us on Inside the Game. First off, Coach, thanks so much for stopping by.
Cheers, lads. Thanks for having us.
We appreciate you taking the time out. We know, obviously, getting busy, getting ready for the season, getting everybody ready to roll. How have things been in training? How have the players been coming together? What does everything look like as you guys get ready for another long season?
Yeah, training's been very competitive. It's this past week has spiked definitely because we're getting closer to season. We've steadily increased the physical load for the lads, and then continuously increased the mental load to see how they behave under those stressors, see what the reactions are going to be under duress. And then the group is really, really coming together as men. That was actually the very first thing we did in the very first week, is learning more about ourselves and learning the strengths, learning the weaknesses as men first, and then how that can bring us together, how we communicate together, and actually bring us together more as a group first. And then we build into the football and to the physical side.
Coach, I saw that, recently you guys did a jersey reveal. I just got to say, these kits are pretty fire. I think they are awesome. And I thought you guys did a really good job with the kits, and then obviously doing a whole jersey reveal with kind of the community. What has been the community aspect? First off, do you even like the jerseys?
I love them. Yeah,
I love them too.
genuinely love them. Not because I'm on the camera. You'd know if I was giving you some BS. I genuinely love them.
I love them too. But the community base, you kind of did a little jersey reveal with them. What has been the community base for the Colorado Switchbacks?
Well, it's been a big one for us because when we sit down in the off season, especially I think a lot of us that come from different countries that where football and soccer is the main sport, the club is everything in the community, and it kind of it's your beacon towards the community every single day, So it's what you grow up, and you can't pick your team. Your team is picked for you when you're born, and we should become that. I don't think it's quite there yet, but we have a fantastic fan base, and I think just making it more real, and the connection, genuine love for it, and we have to do our part in that, and we have to take the lead in that. So genuinely, we just have to do more for the fans, and you can't just expect game day to be enough. And we actually have to get out into the community, learn the people, and become a part of it. Again, I say it all the time, but my son's born here, and I want him. I want this to be home for him, and I want young kids to love Matt Mahoney and love Juan Tejada and want to be the next one of them. And we should be the beacon of inspiration, regardless of if it's the main sport that people love or not. But it should be an identity of the town and the city. So I think that's the thinking behind at least that as a first event to kind of show our intent.
I think winning games is one way to certainly get the community behind you. But as you mentioned, there are so many other ways in which to reach out and to really touch people and to get them really involved. How else do you guys target the community and embrace the community in different ways?
Yeah, and you said get the community behind us. We see it. I genuinely see it the other way. We have to get behind the community. We have to
Yeah.
be ingrained in it. We have to be involved in it. And what we've done is we've done a lot of pieces internally, and not for PR, and not for to talk about it on TV shows and put it on social media. It's actually getting in there and learning families, learning maybe there's people who aren't as privileged as us. We're in such a privileged spot. So maybe there's people in the community who need a dig out, they need help, and we should be there to genuinely help them. And because a lot of us have come from maybe not so affluent backgrounds, and this sport has been the reason we got out, and we're in a position to help and actually be it, and create connections that are genuine. And that's been the way we've been doing it since realistically it's 3.5 4 weeks that we've started it. And not, again, nobody's heard about it because we don't really want people hearing about it. We just want to go, and we want to do the interactions and be part of these people's lives, and hopefully if it's good and if it's genuine, they want to be part of our lives, so we can actually build a community. I think it has to be real, and if it's got a hidden agenda behind it, and if it's not, if it's forced, and if it's false, it's not just not going to happen the way it needs to.
Coach, you mentioned Juan Tejada. You guys signed him to a 2-year contract extension this year. How big of a player is Juan Tejada to your team?
I'd say the player comes second. The man first of all. Everyone loves internally here. The fans, of course, they love him because they see what we see in the day to day. He refuses to give up. We did an early in-house game, and his team got had a man sent off, and you would have thought his team were with the man up because of the amount he worked, he pressed, he rallied his team in that game, and his team in that internal game ended up winning despite being a man down. So that's the football side of it, but everyone responds to the human, and him and his family are just unbelievable people. Please just take time to get to know him a little bit more. You love him, but yeah, as the footballer too, he's a spark. He is aggressive. He's the very first player. The first year he got here, he's the very first player I've ever seen run through a cramp and then be fine after it. That was in RGV away in the middle of the summer. So that just gives you the insight to the mentality. He's never going to accept defeat. He's just going to refuse any sort of notion of defeat. And they're the men and the people we want in the building.
And I feel like you've had a lot of gutsy players under your time too, going back to when you were on the USL 2 side with Philadelphia Union and what you did with those guys and building up to where you are now and joining the Colorado Switchbacks. What have you taken from that experience and brought it into this current role?
Yeah, well, that gave me so many huge lessons of things you just will not accept and things that are a must, that have to be there. The very first thing being the spine, knowing that every man in that spine can be trusted when the going gets tough. They're all the first things you learn, because footballers and talent, that's the piece that everybody can see. That's the piece. It's very easy to look good when things are going well, but the test on the character was always the biggest lesson I got from that. And no matter where we've gone through that, it has just proven itself time and time and time again. When we've had good seasons, when we've had not so good seasons, 9 times out of 10, it's usually come down to when those characters are tested, how they're reacting. And that has to be the staff as well. We all have to be in on that too. We can't just tell them to be one thing. We have to be it as well. So if you get the spine right with that has been the biggest lesson. And then the second biggest is trusting people. Just trust them to be good at what they're doing and hold myself plus them to a certain level, a certain standard that we just refuse to drop below. And even when times go tough, just talk through it and hold each other accountable. Don't shy away from it. They're the 2 biggest lessons, and it's helped us so far in pre-season.
Coach, you joined the team back in 2021. Have kind of worked up your way up a little bit to obviously now head coach. Which, hey, I forgot to say, congratulations, by the way, on the new job title here, head coach here of the Colorado Springs Switchbacks. What have you learned in the the first couple of months as the new head coach here?
It's sticking to our principles. It's almost ingrained now in our brain, and what we're seeing in, what are we, week 5, week 6, we're seeing how true that is in this environment. It might be different in other environments, but if we can get ourselves right, holding ourselves accountable to the standards we've set in here, and not even consider outside noise, not even listen, it doesn't even enter in. We get that right, and they've been the lessons throughout since 2021 all the way to now, where you've seen the groups that throughout those years, when we've had success and we've pushed the boundaries each year for the club, that's what we want to keep doing. So there's been lessons in every single one of those years, but the biggest lesson is the same thing that I took from Reading, and it's the same thing I've taken from every coach I've been around. It's, you have to get that right. If you get that right and you get the humans right in the building, you obviously have to have talent. You have to have good footballers. You have to have, in moments, that small bit of luck. But if you rely on luck as a plan, you're done for from the start. So we're looking at making sure everything's right. The group, which I love, has talked since day one about being correct when we're tested in the difficult moments. So that's what we've done all pre-season, testing the difficult moments. So if we can be right in them, well, then we can be very, very good in the good moments.
think one of the biggest parts of being a good coach and a good manager and the head man is being able to manage all the different personalities you have on a team. Sometimes it's a hard thing to do, but it's a really important thing. Are you sensing the buy-in from your group leading into the regular season?
Yeah, I think everyone's creating it. I think if I was to just sit there and say, "Hey, buy in," people are not going to
Yeah,
do
fair.
that. It's just not human
True.
behavior. You have to give
Yeah.
them a reason why, and you have to give them. I believe what's always worked well when you're successful is that it's a bigger purpose than just one thing.
Yeah.
Of course, we're here to win games, but there's a bigger purpose because of that. And we've got fathers in the building. They've got kids, young kids, and it's a good group of fathers there. There's a big reason why we've got a community here that loves this club. We've got lads here that want to push on to bigger and better leagues and go on bigger, better opportunities. So there's so many reasons why that are bigger, but bringing us all together again, like I told you at the start, and learning about each other. Let's learn what all our whys are, learn what's going to be bigger than all of us, because you can mesh everyone together to then, and then they define what's going to be successful for us. What's going to be the reason why when it's maybe you're down with 10 minutes to go, you push through and you end up winning the game? What's going to be the reason why when the going gets tough in usually those summer months when the schedule, we're able to grind through even though it's difficult? So
Yep.
I think that's been a very, very clear one.
Speaking of buying in, you guys won the USL Championship back in 2024. You were a part of it. What does it take to win a USL Championship?
For us in 2024, it was from probably the Pittsburgh game away onward. It was sticking to what we know we're good at, sticking to the strengths, executing on those strengths, and putting things in place to limit our own shortcomings that year. And then it was into a rhythm. Then it was building relationships. Very, very few changes in the lineup in the back end of that season. Guys staying fit, staying healthy at the back end of that season, and then players showing up with big magic moments because they've all got it, especially the attacking players and things like that. Every single player, they've made it here for a reason. They've all got magic moments. So if they're free, if they're loose, if they're in a rhythm to do that while getting the principles of structure and things correct, well, then you can see magic moments. Like I'm just looking on the screen now of Yost crossing to Tejada.
Great goal.
One wasn't supposed to be in that role. He wasn't supposed to be a second nine on the day, but because he sees it and he sees the moment, and Yost is able to connect on the cross, you've got two players that showed a bit of magic and they're confident enough to go and do it. Everyone talks about confidence, and confidence is so easy to take away, and so many factors can take that away. But real confidence, when it's self confidence, it can be put in place, and it's a freedom to make mistakes. It's a freedom to go, and a striker has maybe missed four chances. Well, go and miss the fifth, because if he feels like he's stiff and he's rigid, we learned those lessons last year. If they feel stiff, they feel rigid, you're not going to see the magic you saw in front of goal in 2024.
Do you feel as if that championship in 24 has helped you build into the future? Like it's kind of built off of itself in terms of adding new players, but also keeping a strong core around?
I would say the hangover had more lessons in it than the win. I would say
Mm,
25 had way more lessons than 24, because it exposed you cannot go away from your core of people. You can't replace, and you cannot not replace key pieces up the spine and key leaders that helps you get there. You have to, if you have success, build on that. You can't let the core of people who were solid in those moments, you cannot let them go. Or if you do let them go, make sure you have better coming in. Because that's the natural order of football, right? Someone maybe hits a certain age and they want to move on, or they retire, or things like that, and they've done really good for the club. So you have to kind of move on to the next. Well, that person coming in can't be of lesser trust in the key moments and in the difficult moments. I think that there's bigger lessons in 25 than there was in 24.
You made a handful of signings this offseason. Is it taking some time, a little bit longer for them to mesh together up to this point, or are they meshing pretty well?
They're meshing. They are absolutely meshing pretty well. Because I think what's helped is the people who've come in are now more of a match to the core and key leaders that were here that got kept on and got renewed. So they're seeing more of the same principles, whereas maybe that was different at the start of 25. You kind of had a split in the locker room in 25, but we've got people here now who are more of a mesh first of all. But we've also then talked about everyone's differences. We've done a small little, not that it's an exact science, but we've done a small little personality test with the staff and with the players, just to show everybody, listen, this isn't an exact science, but take a look at the differences within us. Take a look at the similarities within us, the strengths and weaknesses of each characteristic. And in this moment, he might behave like that, and now you understand why. So that's been, and we've had a lot of those discussions. And we started that from week one. We didn't even get into tactics. We didn't get into shape, nothing like that from week one. I think it's important we get this dressing room and these people together first and foremost.
That test that you recently just started that?
From week one, we started talking about it. Week two or week three, we did the test and gave the results to all the players and all the staff, and then went 2 to 3 levels down on that and going, okay, well, here's who we are. This is the makeup of who we are, and these characteristics serve a purpose in this, and they're strong in this situation, and these characteristics are maybe stronger in that situation. And then we've
Right.
gone 2 to 3 layers down to be able to discuss that and go, well, maybe I'm not so good in this moment, but if I'm led correctly in that moment, I can be unbelievable to help, because I'll be a big supporter in behind. I'll do the work. I'll be a yes sir, no sir type of guy. Some guys are not that. Some guys are, I'm leading the charge. Like Guantahada, I'm leading the charge. We're going. He doesn't need
Yep.
organization. It doesn't really need to be, perfectly planned. But wherever the bullets are flying, he's going towards it, and he's bringing everybody along with him. So we've got a better understanding now of who we are than definitely week one.
Adrian Perez, a guy you brought in this year, 2-year contract. He scored 2 goals in your friendly. How well has he been playing in preseason? What are you expecting from him this year?
Yeah, I think in every time now that he's been in a specific role for us in preseason, he's popped up with something, either assist or a goal. He's had actually a couple of games where he's had multiple goals. He's I think he feels the leash is off a little bit more now, because he's got more freedom to express himself and more freedom to be a little bit more creative. Now Louisville are fantastic, so I think maybe for him he feels it was a bit too rigid for him in particular. But he's a fantastic human being. Again, he can be trusted when the going gets tough. We do a lot of background on our signings, and first of all, we do character references. So the 4 to 5 character reference on him, there was zero doubt in how he is when the going gets tough. Zero doubt in him in the locker room and as a teammate. So that's been a huge one. Talon Maples has been a huge one. Colin Shuttler's been a huge. Everything up the spine. Corey Bennett. Yeah, and then we're really excited about some of the younger guys as well. It's a nice mesh, but the spine has been very, very impactful, both off the field as men and on field for us.
Alan, I appreciate you taking the time to come out to talk with us. I know Ryan's got one more to wrap up this interview once I'm done, but I am curious. The World Cup coming up here in the United States. What are you looking forward to the most with the world's biggest tournament coming here to our shores?
Well, selfishly, I'm looking for our 2 players to come back healthy, because we're losing Duke and Garv for the Haiti game. So hopefully they come back fit and healthy. But I think it's just amazing if you can get to go and see those games, if you can get to be around it. It's that fever atmosphere. It's just, hopefully people over here in this side of the world get to see why we love it a little bit more, and it
Yeah.
becomes so ingrained in your blood. And it can be, let's see, but it can be a spark for a new generation to fall in love
100%.
with the sport. Especially if it's local and they get to see how much it means. I think even to grown adults. If you see
Yeah.
mothers and fathers and grandmothers and grandfathers in the stadium and they're crying because their team has won, crying because their team has lost. That just sparks something in you. So that's what I'm looking
Yep.
forward to see. But yeah, first and foremost, that Duke and Garv come back healthy. Fingers crossed.
I thought you were going to say Ireland to qualify for the World Cup.
Listen. Don't give me hope. The hope kills you. We're in the playoff now, and it's the hope. It's the hope that if they make it, I might have to resign maybe, so I can go to those games.
Coach, I'm an Arsenal fan, so the hope kills every single time. So
Oh,
it's just
so yeah,
pain and
right
pain. I
now,
get it. I get it. But
yeah, you're feeling it right now with the hope.
but anyway, so here at the National Soccer Network, we do a counting down the days to the World Cup, and we do a different World Cup moment every single day, counting down. I forget which one I did today for the moment, but just posted it on social media. To you, what is your best World Cup moment that you've seen?
That I've actually physically seen was in a qualifier, was Ireland versus the Netherlands in, oh, what year was that? It was the qualify for the tournament in when we had the Roy Keane Saipan incident. It was the qualify for South Korea and Japan.
Oh yeah, that was actually one of
And
the moments I did the other day. Was the Roy Keane
it was
incident?
yeah, well, that was the afters. But what got us there is I got to see Roy Keane in that game. Very first minute, he smashes
Oh,
Mark Overmars, and the crowd
Oh,
just erupts.
Arsenal
We
player.
had no business beating them that day, and then Jason McAteer scored, and we beat them that day. So mine's a qualifier, and then the biggest memory I have is that World Cup that came up when we went to play Spain in penalties, and I literally, for the first time in my life, I couldn't watch a game of football. I had to walk out of the room. I think I don't know what age was I, 12, 13, and we lost. We could have won, but yeah, that's a bad memory. But the good memory was watching, physically being there and watching Roy Keane that day. It was unbelievable.
Actually,
well, I think
one
we're
of the
all
moments I did was Ireland won a PK shootout. I forget exactly what year it was, but that is one of the moments that's coming up down the line. You guys won a PK shootout in the World Cup.
Yeah, see, it's the hope that kills you. Told you, the hope that kills you.
Well, I hope they get in this year. I really do.
yeah.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. It would be unbelievable.
Well, even as U.S. men's national team fans, we have to tamper our expectations a lot of times. So hopefully
Yeah.
we are pleasantly surprised in 2026. Alan, appreciate you stopping by the show.